It's an honor. It's a pleasure. And I know that you enjoy hearing from Robert Chapman every month on Erskine Overnight. He's the publisher of the International Forecaster, the International Forecaster, the newsletter that examines world economic conditions and major events. A forecast of economic trends for intelligent financial planning and investing. He presents the future headlines today and has been doing it for years and years and years. Go back and look at what he's done, what he said. He has been so far ahead of the curve, it isn't funny. He can help you make money. He can help you keep your money and make informed financial decisions. The internationalforecaster.com will tell you more about how to subscribe in a little bit. Now, he started out in the April 10th issue of the International Forecaster, and you get a copy twice a week. It's incredible what's in each issue, twice a week, delivered by email, or it can be mailed to you once a week. But email comes twice a week. Incredible what's in here. And he started out with a quotation on the April 10th issue where it said, the way to crush the bourgeois is to grind them between the millstones of taxation and inflation. Grind them between the millstones of inflation and taxation. And I can't believe Robert Chapman is quoting Lenin. But that's exactly what it is. And I would add to that quote, cut services, increase taxes, increase inflation, and cut services. All of that goes together, and you've got the bourgeois, which is, come on, let's face it, us, not the Illuminati, it's us, ground down. Mr. Chapman, nothing said it any more clearly. I thought I'd never see you quote Lenin, but hey, you got to go where you got to go, don't you?
Well, it was apropos, and it just shows all totalitarians are the same.
It really does. The money credit crunch that has come about, the money, adding the credit, it's done nothing but made it worse, and this has been deliberate, you're saying. You're one of the few people to call them out and say it's the Illuminati, it's the members of the CFR, it's the members of the Bilderberg who really run the country, not the people you vote for.
And it's been that way for a long, long time. And that's the secret to finding out what's going to happen in the future or getting close to where these people are headed. You cannot make future predictions and or any kind of a look at what might be going on without considering that. And that's why so many of these people who write letters and are on talk radio, they don't get the whole story. And you've got to study history, and you have to understand what these people are up to. And when you do, and you can think into the criminal mind, then you'll find out what they're doing and when they're going to do it.
I could deal with a criminal mind. I can't deal with an evil mind, just evil. And when you're looking at this Illuminati, they are just absolutely evil. And when we're looking at the control that they have, it's incredible. Now, talking about control, and I'm going to quote from the International Forecaster because it's just too good, and I'll mess it up if I try to paraphrase it. This is delivered. Corporate fascism, the state intervenes in behalf of corporate interests, when corporate interests could just be as well phrased as the Illuminati interest. All are methods of controlling the public's wealth as well as freedom. In addition, that's what the Patriot Act's medical reform and homeland security are all about. Government control of the population is the result, and in that atmosphere, the prosperity and wealth is lost. It's not the power of the government we have to challenge, but the power of those who control government. And when you're talking about this, that sums it up. Everything we've seen in the last few years, it's all about control, isn't it?
It certainly is. And that's where this is all headed. And the financial and economic situation is going to continue to deteriorate. This hiatus that we've had through the injection of stimulus and a stimulus plan, as well as the stimulus that has come from the Federal Reserve and from deficit spending as well. All of this is going to wane when they want it to. and we'll go into a deflationary depression when they want to, and then they will attempt to bring the world financially and economically to its knees, and while that process is going on, they're going to supply them with another war.
And I noticed that even John McCain and Lieberman, they're calling for an invasion of Iran. Invade Iran, invade Iran. Are these people nuts? No, they're following the script that their masters are telling them to, in my opinion. Any comments on that, Mr. Chapman?
Well, I agree with you completely, and if that's the way they feel, I think they should be in the first line of troops that go in and attack the Iranians. I mean, if they're so excited about
put him on the front row. Put John McCain there on the front. Yeah, let him go out and attack if he thinks that's what we ought to do. Absolutely.
He won't send his kids or his grandkids, so why not? Send his wife. I mean, they want us to our nation to go off and give away our young men and women to die for them, for nothing. You got to be kidding me.
It's been that way ever since General Smedley Butler wrote the book War is a Racket. It has been that way, and that's a book I highly recommend. I know you're very familiar with it. He explained how you're fighting under the banner of Chevron, or Standard Oil back then. You're fighting under the corporate banner every war, and he was absolutely correct, Mr. Chapman.
He was, and he was a very decorated man. One of the greatest Americans of the 20th century, and most people don't know who he is because people like that are not set up as an example. People like that are not held in esteem because the publishing industry, the media, are all controlled by the people who start the wars in the first place. And so you don't hear much of them, but we and others are going to keep his gift to us alive. And it's one of the things I saw early on was his comments back in the early 60s after I had left counterintelligence for the government, was totally disgusted by what I learned. And that's what set me off on this quest. I mean, if I hadn't been a member of that Corps, I would have never known that the world was upside down compared to what we'd known before.
When you work for intelligence, you learn to look for not what's said, but what's actually meant. It's a whole different way of looking at things, isn't it, Mr. Chapman?
It certainly is, and people who don't look at life outside the box are mistaken. And I'm not talking just about right now. You had to do the same thing in the 9th century or whatever. I mean, the actions, the human actions of people have not appreciably changed since they were created. And, you know, people will do the same things over and over again. Sometimes they read about it, and sometimes they've never heard about it. It's just human nature. There's certain people who will often do things that are evil, and there are the majority of people, probably 95% of them, would never think of doing such a thing.
The only time Jesus really got mad was with the money changers. And if that doesn't show you that the more things change, the more they stay the same, nothing will. The whole Bible, he never lost his cool, but he sure did with the money changers in the temple. Absolutely lost his cool there over 2,000 years ago. And it's about time for us to lose our cool, or is it? We'll find out. More with Robert Chapman, the international forecaster, when we return on Erskine Overnight.